Hi, my name's Phil. I like talking about politics, and in this video I like to discuss a video clip of Rishi Sunak speaking to a member of the public yesterday, making a right mess of it, and how it shows what I've been saying for so long. There may well be reason to suppose that the Conservatives can close the poll gap when the election's called, but Sunak's general uselessness will act the other way as well. For example, if a voter berates you about a perceived failure of government on camera, don't laugh at them. You'd think anyone reaching the rank of Prime Minister would have learned that lesson a long time ago. Not Sunak. But first, if you'd like to be notified of daily news and politics, please subscribe to the channel. So I'm going to pick on Rishi Sunak again. And yes, I know, stop, he's already dead. But this is relevant in terms of what to expect from the general election campaign. We know there are things that the Conservatives will have in their favour come the general election campaign that give them good reason to suppose they can recover somewhat in vote share. Not enough to win, but an improvement, sure. They get to decide when the election is. That's an advantage. It's still probably May the 2nd, by the way. They will run an expensive campaign, and it will be the dirtiest, nastiest, most divisive campaign I will ever have seen in this country. But it will also be effective to an extent. They can also expect a chunk of Conservative voters currently telling pollsters that they don't know how they will vote to come and vote Tory on the day. After all, if you're saying don't know at this point, you might still be voting Tory. All of these things work in their favour. But despite Conservative MPs talking about a 1992 style election shock, they should pay more attention to 2017. Theresa May called a snap election because polling suggested that she would increase her majority, which would have been very useful in combating the far right during Brexit negotiations. In the end, not only did she not extend her majority, she lost what majority she had. She was then completely outplayed by the ERG from there on in. And why? Because she was personally awful on the campaign trail. Nobody seemed to see it coming. Theresa May was an absolute disaster in public, Labour were disciplined, and the Tory poll rating collapsed. Well, in this coming election, there's a lot of that going to be repeated. Labour are going to be disciplined and on message again, and Rishi Sunak is going to be an absolute disaster in public. Consider that Sunak has not been out campaigning during the by-election polling days as Prime Minister and Tory leader. Why not? Because he's a liability on a campaign, and Tory strategists know it. An encounter was recorded with the public, which shows why. I'll post links in the description below, but let me describe the key points. The lady in question, clearly unhappy, very unhappy, is asking about the state of the NHS. She was particularly concerned about being able to go to A&E. Rishi Sunak starts talking about NHS strikes, so blaming doctors and nurses. He described 2 months last year when there were no strikes and waiting lists fell. And mind you, I think he was describing summer months where waiting lists naturally fall anyway. But let's not get distracted with too much critical analysis, or the Tories will be reaching for their crucifixes and garlic. The point is that waiting lists are for inpatients having medical procedures, not people trying to get seen in accident and emergency. So Rishi Sunak was being asked about one thing and started talking about another, which obviously wasn't going to satisfy either her or anyone concerned with the same issue. Sunak made it worse when the lady tackled the issue of strikes. As he'd brought them up, she didn't want to bring them up, he brought them up. She said, well, you can stop them anytime you like and take us back to where we were. He then laughed out loud and appeared to walk away. Now, being fair, a more complete clip on the Sky News website showed that he went back to her. He didn't actually laugh at her and walk away. But the result is still a shortened clip, not an edited clip, just cut short, flying around social media showing Rishi Sunak laughing at the suggestion that he could actually do something to help the NHS. Now, it was bad enough when Gordon Brown told that bigot she was a bigot. He didn't realise he was being filmed, though he should have been acting at all times as if he were. But this is the era of smartphones. All politicians in public are being filmed at all times, or should certainly behave as if they are. Now, senior members of the government can, of course, come up against members of the public who are upset with them. Some with good cause, some without. Indeed, I expect useful idiots for the Tories to try and trip Starmer up this election campaign. It can and will happen. How you deal with it is important. Sunak made terrible errors here. First, he tried to blame NHS staff for a problem that people understand is actually a problem that occurred under the Tories. Further, he's trying to compare apples and oranges by talking about waiting lists for elective surgery whilst being asked about A&E. Second, he laughed at a voter who was picking a bone with him. Never do that. Laugh with a voter who's sharing a joke with you, never at them when they are berating you. Even if you believe that their grievance doesn't exist, even if you believe what they're saying is laughable. There are people who will moan about stupid things, but politicians have to at least give the impression of taking them seriously. It's their job. That huge belly laugh is the sound of Sunak losing even more votes. He may as well have finished it off by saying, well, I get private treatment, so I don't give a shit. I'm not sure he'd have made it much worse if he had. And this is a performance after occupying the second and first most senior roles in government for 4 years now. This is him after at least 4 years of practice engaging with the general public. I can't say he's really advanced from trying to pay for petrol with a can of cola that wasn't his. And even if people say, but he didn't just laugh and walk away as being claimed on social media, he went back to her. There is a video of him laughing and appearing to walk away. It wasn't doctored, it was just cut short. He shouldn't have done it. Even the full clip looks bad. And come the general election campaign, we're going to be seeing this. And if he does something, which if you cut the video short looks bad, people are going to cut the video short and share it on social media. That's politics. He's absolutely terrible at talking to real people, and he's absolutely terrible at the PR event. You know, when it comes to talking to real people, he's hardly ever met any, to be fair. So yes, there are some reasons to suppose the Conservatives will have some advantages in the election campaign, but they've got obstacles as well. Sunak has generally avoided public engagements like this. There were a few times last year when I said he actually should have been throwing himself to the lions. He actually should have been doing engagements like this and making a mess of them and then learning from them. He's not accomplished at them. In 2017, the Tories did not expect Theresa May to crash and burn like she did. It came as a surprise to them. But in 2024, we know Sunak's going to do so. So the Tories must know he's going to do so. As I say, they do know that because there's a reason he's not been out and about campaigning on by-election polling day. In fact, radio silence. The last time he left the country. And yet, he's putting no effort into improving his patter. Either that or he is so useless that actually he's getting intensive training on this and he's just incapable of learning. But those are my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comments below. Hope you found the video interesting. If you did, please click the like button. And if you'd like to support the channel further, the join button for memberships. And until next time, I'll see you later.